This video talks about space asset areas in NEO. What is a space asset area? It is a building block to help you create your unique building using NEO. Space asset areas represent different programmatic functions within a building. They are used in both new and existing buildings. Users can build custom buildings from the collection of available space asset areas. The key definitions that make up a space asset area are based on industry standards such as ASHRAE, ComNet, and past experience. Some details are editable by the user. Space asset areas are really flexible in how they are used within the tool. You can have multiple occurrences of the same space asset area to represent different conditions within the building. For example, if you have got an apartment that is heated with PTACs and a second portion of the apartments that are heated with air source heat pumps, you could create two different apartment space asset areas within your model to represent that. Similarly, you can do the same to represent different HVAC conditions, different architectural conditions, different lighting conditions, if need be. Space asset areas were developed primarily by assigning building type level characteristics, and most are applied broadly across areas of the building. For example, a classroom space asset area represents not only the classroom teaching spaces of the school, but also the corridors needed to get the students and teachers to or from the classrooms, the restrooms to support the students and teachers in the classrooms, as well as storage areas and such. Some space asset areas, though, are more representative of a specific space type. These were necessary really because of specific conditions within certain space asset areas, such as healthcare ventilation requirements, or space type, lighting power densities, or other loads such as kitchens. We'll talk more about those in the following slides. So looking at some space type asset areas that are similar to space types, we have healthcare ventilation requirements, for example, that dictate the necessary for emergency departments, laboratories, operatories, patient rooms, and treatment rooms to be more like space types in the way you would use them within NEO, as opposed to the classroom space asset area that was mentioned as an example previously. Some additional examples of space asset areas that are more like space types are those such as apartments, laboratories, again due to their varying loads, computer centers with the demanding plug loads, kitchens, as I already mentioned, laundry areas with their unique loads, locker rooms, convention centers, and conference meeting areas. At the end of the day, when you're building up your unique building using space asset areas, remember that it is not an exact science. Do not overthink it. If you're using drawings, remember to take them in large chunks. For the majority of space asset areas, corridors, storage rooms, restrooms, and the like are associated with that space asset area type and just simply included as part of it in your takeoffs. While there is no limit to the number of space asset areas that you can have within your NEO model, if you have more than 10, you may be overthinking it. Here are some examples to help further illustrate the difference between those space asset areas that act more as space types and those common space asset areas. So here we have an apartment building example. And if you looked at this floor plan, you may be inclined to just make this entire area an apartment space asset area. However, you would be overestimating the loads associated with those corridors to get occupants to and from the apartments. So you should not specify it this way in NEO. You should take that core area there and specify that as a common area space asset area. In this case, that would be hosted by the apartment space asset area based on this particular floor plan. In this way, you'd be able to get the right equipment and ventilation and people loads and lighting loads within the apartments, as well as those separate different loads within the common areas. Another example is a hospital. This happens to be a patient room floor plan. And looking at this, again, you might be inclined to just simply specify this entire floor as a patient room space asset area. Doing so, however, would greatly overestimate the ventilation and other loads associated with those corridors, waiting rooms, nurses' stations, and such that make up the core of this particular floor plan. Again, you don't want to specify it this way in NEO. Instead, you would want to specify that central area as a common area space asset to reflect those specific loads. And then those patient rooms themselves is that patient room space asset area. I hope this has helped clear up what a space asset area is and allow you to apply it within NEO. To begin using NEO, go to netenergyoptimizer.com.